encore. On n'a pas parlé de ça.
Il va falloir qu'on parle de ça. On est on! C'est fresh! Let's go big! Un petit Marketing Monday qui start aujourd'hui avec nous autres. Je vais juste nous lancer sur Instagram. Comment ça va?
Ça va bien, toi? C'est lundi, man.
C'est lundi, on est toujours un petit peu en manque d'énergie le lundi.
Ouais, c'est ça. On a besoin comme minimum 5 cafés aujourd'hui. À vous.
Moi, j'ai starté ça à 5h30. Moi, je suis on, man. Chaque lundi, là, tu peux pas me manquer. Le lundi, là, peut-être que je suis un peu intense, mais il y en a peut-être qui sont comme moi. Moi, le lundi, I look forward for Mondays. J'aime ça, man. J'aime ça starter le lundi matin. On a des choses à faire. Mais écoute, j'ai pas pu m'empêcher de travailler un petit peu pendant la fin de semaine. Fait que j'ai hâte de voir mes boys pour pouvoir les starter sur des tâches. Pas le choix. On a un beau petit programme aujourd'hui. On termine dans le fond le chapter 1 du livre qu'on est en train de lire, qui parle de Marketing Lessons from Under the Influence de Terry O'Reilly. Un très bon livre. Honnêtement, I really enjoy it. It's full of like takeaways. Puis we don't have much time on the live pour parler de tout ce que j'aurais aimé parler avec ce livre-là, mais c'est vraiment intéressant.
I think we got to go a little shorter today, hein?
Ça se peut.
Un bon quinzaine de minutes.
On va faire comme on peut, man. On va faire comme on peut. De toute façon, j'ai pas grand-chose. On finissait le chapter 1. So, yeah, man. So, last time we were talking about clutter. I don't know if you remember. Last time we were talking about the word of marketing, how it's filled with clutter. So, we're just going to expand on that because in the book, they're talking about a fun perspective, a fun statistic that we go across one single day through 3,000 posters or ads. So you get to have you get to be like you're being touched either by radio or by like a poster or whatever 3,000 times a day. And apparently you notice 6 of those and you retain 2. So you remember only 2. Every single day you go through 3,000 ads.
Okay, but wait, is that like what we come across in our daily life, or is that like include also daily? Instagram and stuff?
And this book was written like a few years ago, so I would say it's more than that because we're scrolling every day and we're watching stuff on our phones, right? So we're probably going across a lot more than that. Hey,
yeah,
what's up?
You would think so.
So how do you get into that private 2 club? How do you get into that private 2 ads that gets retained and people will remember? The answer is simplicity, my friend. Simplicity, bro. This fucking thing. Simplicity, man. C'est ça le truc. Mais c'est ça qu'on s'était dit la dernière fois. A single-minded ad founded on a good strategy, expressed creatively has a greater chance of penetrating. So, ce qu'on se disait la dernière fois par rapport à le moins de mots possible, elevator pitch, one good way to expand on that was, I like the image in the book that they were explaining. They said, if I have 5 apples in my hands and I throw them all at you, chances are you'll drop them all. But if I lob one, you'll catch it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that?
So that's good. I like it.
But what do you think? What do you think of the like in the sense of like doing ads and marketing? Like what's your opinion?
It has to do with being simple. Like it's an analogy that you're the company throwing the apple. Your message is short and sweet. So you're just throwing one apple. You're keeping it simple. Instead of throwing like, yeah, we do window cleaning, we do carpet cleaning, we do this. You're just saying, hey, we do cleaning. You just throw the apple. Hey, we do cleaning. So Yeah. So, and I totally agree. But I thought of something interesting when you were saying that. So how do we become in the magic two as
Mhm.
the magic two per day? So two per day. You said that simplicity is the most important thing, and I agree. But there's also targeting, proper targeting. Think about it, because even though your message is simple, if you're not targeting the right people, you're not going to stick, even though you have the best message. Would you
So,
agree with that?
well,
So,
you
so
got
like,
you got Apple that says phones to like children and my grandma, right? So I would say I'm halfway there because the thing about like e- elevator pitch, it's what's fun about them. It's like going up the escalator. Like if you're going up the escalator, and you cross your customer,
yeah,
how fast could it be? It needs to be like in those few seconds. You could
you
call
have to.
that an escalator pitch. It has to be like that fast. So by the time you have the time you're passing each other is actually the time you have. And when you're able to, and the first
Well,
like the
no,
first
I
chapter
wouldn't
of the
say escalator. Elevators, because you guys are getting on the elevator together and then getting to the 10th floor. So you have the amount of time that you're in the elevator together. Like
that's why
escalator pitch, you're crossing them. It's like you have to
yes
fucking yell at them.
no, but like escalator pitch is like you're going in the escalator going up, and they're
Yeah.
in the escalator going down, and you're crossing each other. So
Yeah.
the
So you have
time
like,
you're passing, they're passing. The time they're passing, like, is actually the time you have to like tell them your mission statement. Like, what is it? What is it about your company? If you're able, and the thing about this book, the full chapter is it's all about getting it to that burning hot core. Like, what is it? It's good that like you're a cleaner, but like saying that you're the best, and I have that, bro. I have that here. Saying that like you're the best cleaner, or the cleaner offices,
it doesn't work. It doesn't, like
like
everybody says
it's
that. It's so basic.
everybody says that. Like like we do better cleaning. Like you're putting yourself in a category. You're not putting
Yeah.
yourself like in a you're putting yourself as a commodity stance. You know what I mean? Like you're like you're a commodity. Okay, if I need less cleaner offices but a better price, I call these people. But these guys, yeah, they do cleaner offices. They must be like more expensive. That's not your elevator pitch. That's just where the client is like putting your, like, in which box is the client putting you. In my opinion, it has to be like you need to fill that gap. You need to be able to fill that gap. That elevator pitch needs to be that gap filler pitch. It needs to be like, which gap are you filling for that client? So all these other companies are filling a gap, right? Like some other companies are gonna say, yeah, we're a maintenance company. We're cleaning every, bro. Like, there's actions. There's a lot of action behind, bro. C'est quoi que ça? C'est chez.
Oh, you guys hear that shit?
Ouais, man, c'est intense.
Yeah. It's
So
ambulance. But I
because
also I also believe that that like it's important to have good messaging and constant messaging, right? And you keep bombard. We see this all the time, right? When we're calling prospects, just the fact that we keep going over and calling them and calling them and calling them. You saw with that with the new client of this today that we got. That was like a result of like constantly following up with them, emails, this, that, and then randomly they call us. Like, okay, I'm ready now. You know? So like I think you need a mix of both. I think you need to have very, very clever messaging, simple messaging, but also constant messaging
I think you
and
could always
targeted
improve.
messaging.
I'm not saying we're not good. I'm saying the thing you're saying are right. Like, but how could we improve? Is why we're here, I guess. Like, why we're here, what brought us here is the result of our actions, right? What could improve
How can
from
we
there?
sell it? How can we sell it differently? How can we
Or
appeal
not
differently?
without being different. How could you be more effective at selling? So how could your elevator pitch, like how could it be faster? Like once you're crossing like that you're going up the escalator, your client's going down. You got 1 second to tell them who you are, what you're doing. What are you gonna say? Like if all companies were equal and charging the same price, the same amount, what would you tell them? If we had to promote like the obligation, like a government would say, okay, now, and it's almost, we're almost there, right? They tell us how much we should pay our employees, so they're basically telling us like, okay, this is benchmark. From there, do what you want. But it's basically telling us like how much we should charge, right? C'est pas mal ça. Là. On est presque là. Taxes are there. How much we should pay our employees are there. You go in between. You have to fit yourself. How could you what would be your differentiator? How could you comment tu peux distiller ça? I don't know how to say that. Distill, c'est quoi le bon mot?
Differentiate. How can you differentiate yourself? What is your unique selling proposition? What is your unique selling proposition?
You want me to get
What
you
are
an
you?
example?
How are you different than the other guys?
You want
Or
me to give you
girls?
an example? I have an example here. I wrote down. You know the Wired magazine? You know that Wired magazine, it launched in 1993, and the founders had no money. They only had one idea, a very good idea, and they gathered some investors, and they went with one pitch. That's why it became known, because the pitch was so good. They said Wired was going to feel like a magazine mailed back from the future. And that's it. That was the pitch. Wired magazine was going to feel like a magazine mailed back from the future. Funding came immediately because they could instantly imagine the magazine, and they knew what it stood for. Like they could already imagine like what it feel like for people. It was back in 1993, so I guess the future back in 1993 was pretty like exciting. 2000s was coming. Tu comprends? Fait que c'était quelque chose que les gens se sont dit, ok, nous autres on finance ça live. Okay, maybe it's not the best example, but that
like it's interesting how you have a room full of people just to gather one sentence, that one compelling elevator pitch, that one sentence, and it changes the whole game. Admit that one sentence changes everything. That one idea, that one way to communicate yourself.
Sometimes your brain works best in
the shower, for example. In the shower, how many ideas do you run through your head in the shower?
I mean a bunch, but how many
we should
ideas?
Get a board in the shower.
But how many ideas passes the filter? Like how many? Like that's actually a good question. How many ideas actually go through the board? Like they actually go through the meeting. Like let's say you have a meeting every Friday. You have to present yourself to like a bunch of investors, funders, founders, whatever. Every Friday you have to present yourself. How many of these ideas all actually go through the board and actually pass the filters?
Probably not many.
Not many. And how could you make sure that these ideas filter? It's good to have ideas in the shower, but how could you make sure that your ideas are actionable? They become actionable. They become something.
Well, you start by writing that down right away.
Okay.
Get it down on paper. Because if you just keep it in your head after, you're going to forget.
But you're going to write down paragraphs. You're going to start writing down paragraphs.
No, you don't start writing paragraphs. Just like just a little note. Just a little note, a one-line note just to remind you. And then after you, when you have time, you sit down, you expand on it, you open up your mind, you say, okay, what is the what is the benefit of this idea that I just had? How can it benefit the people at the meeting, at my work or whatever? And then you put together a plan. You open up ChatGPT, obviously, and you put in your idea in ChatGPT, and you make yourself a little plan.
But we were talking about attention span, right? We were
Right.
talking about attention span. We're talking about attention span all the time. You and me, we know a lot about attention span because we don't have a lot. We don't have a lot of attention span, and like many people.
Bro, speak for yourself. I'm joking.
But no, bro. Like it's
I'm kidding. Of
what
course,
it
not,
is.
of course. It is what it is.
Like it is what it is, bro. Like let's be real. Let's be honest. Like when people are talking about their ideas and they go through their whole plan. I thought of this and I thought of that. I'm good at that. Like I've made plans. I've made a plan sometimes. I was talking about all that stuff, but it was not finished yet. It was not there yet. Sometimes I was talking about, at the beginning, I was talking about implanting new stuff in the CRM. You remember? Like, yeah, I'm gonna.
We always talk about. Even I throw stuff at you sometimes, and you're like, "Yeah, it's a good idea," and we're like, "Write it down." Most of them we don't do, but hey, man, there's only so much that we can do, right? It's not like we're not working. Anyways,
okay, so but we're like, if we're talking real marketing, like we're talking about selling something to someone. We're talking about like if we're talking about selling your ideas, if you need to sell ideas, that's a thing. But if you need to sell products, it's you still need to have that core thing that is attached to the stuff you're selling, because people are not going to buy it. People are not going to do the difference. People are going to go on Amazon and look for a different price. People are going to look. If you want people to actually go to their mom and ask them a little money to buy for your stuff, your product, you need to attach
brand.
The reason why, because but
which is your brand, which is your brand. At the end of the day, that's what it is.
La raison d'être, like it all starts from la raison d'être. Like if it's not about la raison d'être, people are gonna lose track. Like
yeah, exactly. It's all about la raison d'être. What is it gonna do? Pourquoi? Qu'est-ce que ça va faire pour moi? Je prends ces
there you extract. From there you extract your marketing campaigns. Like you extract based on your raison d'être. So if your raison d'être is chicken, Portuguese chicken, you need to extract that as much as possible. And I was looking at the colors of a quinta restaurant. The colors is all like, c'est vraiment fait pour attirer l'œil des Portugais, parce que c'est des couleurs qui sont vraiment extraites du Portugal. Je pourrais plus me souvenir. Du drapeau, exact. Ouais. C'est les vraies couleurs. C'est vraiment fait pour comme trigger ton esprit quand tu vas manger là, que ça va être vraiment portugais.
Yeah. You get the feeling right away. As soon as you see it, you're like, that's Portuguese chicken.
Si t'es right portugais, away. Honnêtement, si t'es pas portugais, tu peux ne pas savoir, mais un vrai portugais va dire oui. Ah oui. Parce que c'est la vraie couleur.
Not necessarily. I think like, moi je suis pas portugais. Well, I live here, but no.
But you could attach it. Like, first thing first, comme avoue que comme le logo, il te trigger un peu à cause de la couleur. C'est des couleurs que tu as déjà associées ailleurs dans ta... Fait que ça te prend pas... t'as pas besoin de longtemps pour voir, dire, OK, le portugais, boom. Elevator.
It's like Uninet. I get the same feeling. Moi, j'ai le même feeling avec le logo Uninet. Right away, I see Uninet. I get a French. I get a feeling of freshness. I get a feeling of freshness and clean and and it's green. It's that nice. It gives you a nice like feeling of like, oh, this like right away. I know this company does cleaning, and they're gonna make my offices and my building clean.
Ça va sentir bon. Mais qu'est-ce que tu peux faire pour rendre ça encore plus rapide puis encore plus comme réduit à l'essence de la business, de qu'est-ce que tu veux faire? Comme, tu sais, comment tu peux t'éviter tout le temps qu'on passe? Tu sais, tantôt, tu as dit quelque chose d'intéressant en plus. You said we're spending so much time grinding. How faster could we spend, let's say we spend 6 months gathering all these leads, gathering all these people, having these contracts, having these people listening to us. how could you shorten that and get to the essence and send it like to a, let's say, a marketing email campaign? Marketing email campaigns, they're either they work or they flop. Like they literally
Right.
flop. You don't get anything. So it's literally hit or miss, and they cost something. They're not cheap. So if you just like go ahead, yeah, marketing campaign all day, and you don't have like a core sentence to attach it to what you're like trying to push, it's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. You're gonna spend so much money. And there's so many companies that did that and are still doing that. Like we said, 3K a day. You're seeing and hearing about ads and marketing 3 times a day. You retain 2. You look at 6. Check l'annonce. Je vais attendre l'annonce. 6 of them. 2 of them, you actually talk about some. Hey, j'ai vu une annonce, man. C'était fou, c'était drôle, man. J'ai vu quelque chose. 2 of them. What gets you to that special 2? And complication. I guess after all that we've been through, complication is kryptonite, my friend. Complication is kryptonite. The more you complicate things, the more you get yourself into quicksand. How could you?
I like how last week when we were working on that email, you were like looking for ways, like how do we make this sentence shorter? Admit it was in the back of your mind, this chapter 1 or whatever, and you're like, and we were making that email campaign together. And we were talking about what sentence is good. We're like, yeah, how do we make that shorter? How do we make that shorter?
To be really
in the back
honest,
of your mind to keep it.
To be really honest, I have to tell you, I've been on that campaign since last week when we started reading that chapter. I'm remaking all our soumissions, everything. Like you don't know yet because I'm working in the background, but everything is going to be changed by next week. Like everything is going to be switched to something really shorter and really like more focused on like if we're sending you something about cleaning windows, you're going to know everything about window cleaning, but just window cleaning, not steam cleaning. Yes, we're doing it because we do all that stuff, but you're not going to hear about it because you asked for window cleaning. And everything you like that we might have seen while we went through a window cleaning job, which might be cobweb, le calcium. I don't know how to say that.
So like you're educating them. You're giving them some education,
insights, and anything that could interest them about window cleaning.
That sells. If you could like educate somebody in a very clever way about something that's very basic, like window cleaning, that's interesting. You teach them something new, that puts you at the top of their mind.
You actually tell them more about their windows more than you're trying to like educate them about other stuff in the build. If they ask for, so the point is, if they ask or are like you talked about targeting more, like better targeting, right? How could you like start doing email campaigns but target more? Well, if you want to target more, shorten more, because the more you complexify, the less you target.
Well, your targeting is super on point. Let's take you for example. The email campaigns that you do are super on point because they're all leads that we spoke to. They're all potential prospects that we've spoken to that have needs, that asked us, envoie-moi, send me a quote, send me your pamphlet. These are leads. These are good leads. So the targeting is on point. So we have that on lock. And now it's like, how do we get a clever campaign going? How do we get a nice campaign going? And now we look at this. And now we look at the season. Okay, now we're in fall. Now we're in fall. People need window cleaning in fall. People need, I don't know, other stuff, right? People need like grand ménage. They're gonna need stuff like that. Will they remember
us when we send that email? How will
we need to be? Yes. Okay. So, and I'm pretty sure you're going to read, if you haven't already read in that book, it's going to tell you that it also takes somebody a couple times of seeing that ad for it to register. Some don't always register in the first time. That's why the consistency is important. If you see the McDonald's, I'm pretty sure the McDonald's sign, for example, or the Coca-Cola sign is ingrained in your brain. But that's like over time of seeing it over and over and over again. It's done.
I'm gonna tell you the story about Steve Jobs and John Sculley. John Scully.
John Scully.
John Scully. You know John Scully?
Yeah, John Scully. John
He
Scully.
was when he was at Pepsi, and Steve Jobs was trying to get him at
I was
Apple
trying to recruit
to
him.
hire him. And
Was
Steve
this the
Jobs,
first or the second time?
he was trying everything. So he was trying everything. He was trying with like 7 digits, salaries. He basically tried everything, man. He tried to like he went to New York. He basically offered him everything, bro. John Scully kept refusing. Like it was more than 5 or 6 times, and on the 6th or 7th time, Steve Jobs went straight to New York to meet John Scully, and he told him, "Listen,
Do you want to change the world, or do you want to make people sick?
do you
Something
want to
like that,
sell
right?
exactly? Do you want to sell
that's what sold him.
sugarized water all your life, or you want to have a chance to change the world?" And the guy, actually, after all these years of saying no, he actually thought about it and was like, "You know what? Let me make a switch." So after all these years of trying with all that stuff, giving money, things, whatever, the one thing that got the guy out of there was purpose, like real purpose in this world. How are you going to be spending the next 24 hours of your life? In what sense? In what way? When you talk about purpose, to me, it hits straight to the heart.
It hits home.
So that's where you need to go. Like, to me, it has to be there. Like, if I have to be clever in my marketing campaigns and think about what I should say or think about for my email campaigns to my clients this autumn, I would think about what would make people happy durant les... Tu sais, quand tu rentres travailler, qu'est-ce qui te rend heureux? C'est les attentions que ton boss a portées aux choses qui t'entourent, right? Je pense que la meilleure attention qu'un boss peut faire pour ses employés, c'est de s'assurer que c'est propre au-delà même de qu'est-ce qu'un employé peut s'attendre. Tu sais, nous autres, je regarde mon bureau ici, là, tu sais, là. Tout en arrière à nettoyer, tout à faire. Il y a plein d'entreprises que c'est de la rapidité, c'est du... tu vois, je suis en train de t'expliquer ça en un paragraphe. How could I distill this? Sucked up to one sentence. That when you get in your office, it's perfectly clean for your employees, like that first day of class feeling. You remember first day of class when everything is top clean in the class and you just get there, you have your perfect pencils and you have your perfect, like, that feeling we had as kids, que tous nos parents nous avaient fait nos sacs d'école brand new, your shoes were brand new, everything was brand new, that feeling. My marketing campaign...
And then your mom would tell you to walk back and forth when you're trying on your pair of shoes for school. She would tell you walk back and forth at Payless shoe stores.
C'était rire. Ça, c'est le feeling que tu veux avoir quand tu rentres travailler le matin, le lundi. Chaque lundi, tu rentres. C'est clean as a fresh pair of shoes. Clean as a fresh pair of shoes on the first day of school.
That's good. If you appeal to their emotions like that, that's a sure sale right there. You got me feeling all like, yo, man, I want you to you got me feeling some type of way there.
Mais avoue, tu sais, I just got one right there. I hope no one like steals it from me, but whatever, steal it from me. Like on Monday morning, feel fresh and brand new as your first day of school, something like that. You know, your paper is at its place on the desk, properly placed. You have fresh pencils to write on, to work on, like your things are fresh, your whiteboards are completely white, fresh to work on, or else you like, you know, on peut faire ça modulé aussi. Tu veux pas qu'on y touche pas, mais tu comprends ce que je veux dire? Un truc complètement customisé, personnalisé, sans que ça prenne 1 heure à expliquer comment tu peux l'exprimer. you need to distill that to one sentence. Because for one guy at one point, it was not billions of dollars or whatever. It was not that. The guy was like, I built all that with Pepsi all my life. I don't want to switch. I don't want to go away. I'm good where I stand. I don't want to take a risk. How are you going to make your client take that risk and step away from comfort and go with you? What is going to be that distilled sentence? How fresh are you going to sound? You need to sound as fresh as peppermint is not fresh enough. Non, mais vraiment, comment tu peux te sentir plus frais encore? Faut penser à tous les messages qu'on voit des fois, que toutes les ads qui nous font acheter, puis tu t'es souvenu. Toi, tu n'arrêtes pas de me parler de Maxi, le panier le moins cher.
Yeah, but it's like it also gives me a feeling of like cheap food. Like,
Si tu veux.
la viande a déjà commencé à tourner brun.
Ouais, mais si tu vas pas là, tu n'achètes pas ta viande, tu vas acheter tes sacs de chips, right? Ils vont te coûter moins cher. Si tu as un party, tu vas aller chez Maxi pour commencer.
Si tu achètes des Lays, c'est le même prix everywhere.
Si t'es smart, tu vas commencer par Maxi, puis tu vas aller chez IGA après pour acheter ta viande.
Ouais, mais à ce point-là, tu gaspilles beaucoup de temps, man, pour sauver 2 billets. Sinon, je paie le 2 billets.
Sauf plus que ça maintenant. Anyways, man. Pas mal ça pour aujourd'hui.
Non, c'était intéressant. It's always interesting talking about marketing. I like I like the insights and the analogies that you give. C'est vraiment plus fresh qu'un peppermint.
En ce moment, je pense que ça, il faut rafraîchir ça, mon Johnny. Il va falloir que j'aille voir mon barber. Moi aussi, il va falloir que je me refresh. Il y a toujours place à amélioration. C'est pour ça qu'on est là. S'améliorer tous les jours. Yes. All right, mon bro.
All right, guys.
Comme ça.
On garde ça comme ça.
À demain.
Salutations sur le...
On le dira demain. Ciao.